We've done 117 videos, we've had nearly 1/3 views, over 21,000 watch hours, and our video thumbnails have reached over 3.5 million eyes. I find that number quite dizzying, to be honest, and it's only been our first year. To celebrate our first anniversary here with you guys, I thought we might run through a list of my best RC models for a few categories. I'm only choosing from the stuff that we've already done, but there's still a lot to choose from. Also, of course, this is going to be just my own opinion, and I know you guys will have your own opinions on things. Some of those will be different to mine. Now, I read all the comments. I'd love to hear what you think too. So let's do it. First category. Got to give away the rest? You can only keep one model. Which one will it be? For me, of course, it's got to be the BRX01, and that's in the configuration that we built here. Part-time four-wheel drive, overdriven front axle when engaged, 2-speed, gorgeous body, and running gear. Just an all-round incredible kit. What made this choice easier was that I considered what machine do I just grab most times when I'm going out with friends to drive. Honourable mention is the TRX4 Defender, but I can't really include this because it was a custom build. Before I had the BRX01, my regular go-to crawler was my TRX4 Defender, but that's been converted to an 80 series Land Cruiser hardbody. This is also my Class 1 competition rig for a few seasons, and it has been utterly reliable, despite being treated atrociously at times on truly gnarly terrain. Now, we've got reviews and test videos of all sorts from the vehicles we've done over the past year. I can't link them all here with pop-up cards as we go, as we usually do, because there are so many of them today. So what I'm going to do is down in the description, I'll list them in order of appearance. And I've broken this video into chapters, so you can also jump ahead to anything that interests you. Right, moving on. My favorite scale truck. What's my favorite scale model from the year? Well, this is a tough one because the BRX01 is very good and kits in recent years have gotten really good. But my choice for favorite scale model has got to be the RCRun RUN-80. This is the 1/10 scale, which is really 1/9 scale, Toyota Land Cruiser 80 series. You must also buy the interior, wheels and tires separately to the chassis kit. Now, it's fully modular and this can be intimidating if you're new to the hobby. But for the end result, especially if you're a Land Cruiser nut like me, it's got to be the top choice. Now, you know I like the BRX01, and we have the BRX02 here in a box, but I've also got to give an honourable mention to the Cross RC BC8 Mammoth Flagship 8x8. Now, this thing is just heavy duty from nose to tail. I once drove the BC8 head on at full speed, nose first, into a concrete parking bollard. I hit it at full speed in second gear. The truck was fine, but it chipped the bollard. This thing has torsion rods for the front axles, incredible scale detail, utterly tough chassis and running gear, and it tows anything. Just wow. What's the most fun kit build? Some kits are just hard work. The details of the tiny parts can be finicky. Sometimes the build instructions are poorly edited, or they have missing steps or even mistakes. And some builds can just drag, and you just look forward to it being done. None of that applies to the GMade BOM TC. This was an unexpected hoot to build. It had thoughtful steps, a logical process, and it went together easily, and it was just plain fun. And it's a performer too, for that matter, which really adds to the satisfaction. Honourable mentions here go to the Traxxas TRX6 Sport. That was just a high quality experience all round. And the Cross RC, the AT4 EMO, which I really had no idea would be so thoroughly well executed from start to finish. Which model has the best all-round performance in all weather on all terrain? Anyone who owns one of these will tell you it's the Traxxas TRX6. Of course it is. This thing just goes anywhere. You do need to replace the steering servo with something a bit tougher, but other than that, this thing's just a super reliable mountain goat out of the box. It's up for a trail run, a rock crawl, rain, hail or shine. You can take this thing anywhere. So that's my easy choice, the TRX6. And of course, when we're talking best performance, honourable mention has to go to the TRX4 in all its variants. It's just a smashing all-round rig. And the other rig that gets the honourable mention, of course, is the Cross RC EMO AT4. Like the TRX4, it has portal axles, lockable, unlockable diffs, 2-speed, and it's just a reliable and really good performing all-round package. Now, while the TRX6 has the best performance, my next category is best trail presence. This thing comes close, but I think it's pipped at the post by the Axial SCX6. They say size doesn't matter, but they haven't driven one of these things. This thing's size is the first thing to hit you on the trails, even if you're used to driving crawlers already. It not only looks great, there's real performance in this thing too, from the lights to the detailed body, the interior, brushless performance, the list goes on. The SCX6 has a trail presence that's unmatched by any other vehicle. Honourable mention has to go to the Cross RC Mammoth BC8, of course it does, because this thing's a beast. You got smoke, lights, sound, 8 big wheels just turning. It is quite a machine. I had to think pretty hard about the best value trail rig. For a trail rig, I want to see a detailed body, and this puts hard body class 1 rigs at an advantage, but I also want performance. You want unlockable diffs, 2-speed transmission, a good light kit. All these things form part of what makes a great trail rig, for me at least. Now this all costs money, so the best value trail rig will have to be a compromise. Incredibly, there is a mid-range priced rig that only misses out on one of those, the interior. Everything else that I just mentioned is catered for, and the price is pretty good. I'm speaking, of course, of the RGT Rescuer, or the EX86 190. Now if you put a Lexan interior into a TRX4, you've got a great trail machine. But the value isn't quite there like it is with the Rescuer. The Element RC Night Runner is a potential consideration too, with IFS, front overdrive and a pretty body. It doesn't make the cut for me personally, as it's only a single speed, has locked diffs, no interior, no wheel wells, it's too light to tow, the body's annoying to remove even for just a simple battery change. But it is pretty, and it's cheaper than the Rescuer, and that might get it over the line for you. It doesn't quite for me. I had to think pretty hard about the best value trail rig, but for rock crawlers, the best value crawler is easy. If you thought I'd say the Element RC Sendero, which you can see behind me, you'd be almost right. It was pipped at the post by the RGT Pioneer, or the EX86 110. They're really close, and the Sendero outcrawls the Pioneer, but the price on the RGT edges it past the Sendero for the best value rock crawler. It was close though, and you'll know if you've been with me for most of this year that the Sendero is a darling in my collection. It's quite a performer. But for the value for money, it's got to be the EX86 110. Honourable mention is the Redcat Gen 8 V2, a truly solid all-rounder with great potential for rock crawling. You've just got to change those lousy OEM tyres. Also, the Element RC Gatekeeper is impressive value for money, and it'll outperform pretty much anything else in this category. That's value out of the way. What if you just want the best performance on the rocks and you're prepared to pay for it? What's the best 4x4 rock crawler? For my money, it's the Axial Capra kit. In kit form, it's a super choice. You pair the impressive kit with decent electronics, and you have a beast of a rock crawler. The 4-wheel steering model only adds to that, but in either form, the Capra is incredibly capable on the rocks. Honourable mention here goes to the TRX6. That extra axle gets it over many an obstacle that the Capra may struggle with, but it isn't a 4x4 model, so I can't really consider it in this category. The Element RC Gatekeeper, you might remember, is not too far behind the Capra. It's another great rig, worth a look if you're looking for an out-and-out RC rock crawler. What about a tough and cheap rock crawler? Well, this is a tough one because the RGT Pioneer and the Redcat Gen 8 V2 are relentlessly durable and both cheaper than some of the other big names out there. But what gets the prize, which is cheaper again than either of these, and that is the RGT Rock Cruiser 3. That's the 136-100 V2. I think if you have minimal money and you want to buy new, the Rock Cruiser V3 might be an unbeatable choice. Another interesting category here is the best ready-to-run electronics package out of the box. We've seen some impressive radio systems in recent models. The RGT 136-100 V3, for example, was very cool. It's with the Hobbywing FlySky HW711 all-in-one. That was ESC, receiver and light control system, and a nifty little controller too. But that car was let down by a low quality servo, and the motor is a smaller unit that really wants a few more turns on it to really go the distance. Now, if we're talking about ready-to-run electronics packages, the latest range of SCX10 rigs is also an interesting option here. Axial's been supplying the Spectrum Firma combos in brushed and brushless in the SCX6 of course, and they're quite good. But for our unit, one of the micro servos failed in the first 10 minutes and I'd barely used it. It just wasn't properly configured out of the box. For the best RTR Electronics package, it may be one that you're not expecting, and that is the Element RC Night Runner and the Sendero HD. They don't have the bells and whistles of some of the other systems, but in both of these two trucks, I simply haven't had to replace a thing. The stock steering servo has been up to the task of even demanding and long session crawling. The 5-pole 16-turn motor has been a perfect choice for the intended use, and the included ESC is a great match for this. The radio transmitter's aesthetic design leaves something to be desired, that's true, but it's functional and it's easy on the batteries. It's a basic system, but it wins as reliability and performance beats bells and whistles, particularly if you can take it somewhere remote and just not worry about it. Now, in trying to think about useful categories here, I thought most surprising performance might be worth talking about too. Now, I expected the GMade BOM TC would be good as I built it. The design was clearly made with rock performance in mind, and it did not disappoint. And these tires in particular, I knew when I saw them out of the box that they'd be really good. However, this is not the winner. This gets an honourable mention in this category rather than the prize because those cast metal diff gears were a disappointing weak point. Now, we've dealt with those cast gears by running a 5-pole motor and staying on 2S, and with the 2-speed transmission it's entirely manageable. So the BOM TC is a great choice, but just keep it on 2S. The real surprise was the heavy and full-featured Cross RC EMO AT4. This thing has no business being as capable as it is. It finished all 6 problems on our rigorous test course, which most crawlers actually can't manage. Plus it has excellent trail characteristics with those unlockable diffs and the wide ratio between first and second gear, so you have a very usable crawling speed and plenty of boogie when you jump it in second. When you consider what's available for the least money, your expectations need to change. There's only so much you can do with a small budget if you're buying new, that is. Now that said, the WPL C24 is certainly cheap. In stock form it isn't much good at crawling, but you can transform it considerably with a simple motor and gearbox upgrade for not a lot more. With a few other cheap or free mods, you can really get a decent little truck for under $100. Now the KM variants of the trucks are pretty decent, and as with the C24, you may find benefit in swapping out the stock 2-speed transmission and motor for that cheap single-speed motor and planetary gearbox. It's only $20 or so online, and one such excellent model there is the C24KM. But that's still not my #1 choice for the under $100 category. For my money, the best sub $100 crawler and trail rig has been the WPL B36KM. It's attractive, detailed, a hard body, has a 6x6 driveline, and with the metal running gear and wheel weights, it goes pretty darn well for a cheapie. So what's next? We have a bunch of comparisons coming up this year, and I think we could probably even do a best of video like this just for electronics. Actually, we should do that. Let's do that. For today though, I want to thank you for joining me for our first year on YouTube. It's been fun, and I'm really enjoying getting to know you guys, and I'm looking forward to what our second year holds. Thank you so much for being part of this adventure. Throw me a like if you enjoyed our little best of today, and I will look forward to catching you again right here on RC-TNT. Thanks for watching.